Happy Wednesday night. We are live. Deuce and Mo live reacting to what just went down in Beantown. Shout out to people filtering in, including our guy Burnt Pizza Boy, who just became a member on YouTube. Hell yes.
Why not?
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Make sure to hit the thumbs up too. And shout out to our guy J-Dub for re-subbing. We got a lot to talk about with this game. I mean, wow. Also, can we just note a couple of things? I know everyone's adjusting before we start talking about the actual game.
Okay, what?
Just amazing. You start seeing more people calling cowards now going live on YouTube. Oh, now you want to come aboard and try to be a part of the train.
What is this rant?
Here's the reality, coward. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
What is this rant?
This rant is this. You can go ahead and do some of the same stuff like these trendsetters.
Oh my God.
But you're still going to be left behind because Juice Mason, Morgan Reagan, we're shooting straight to the moon, and you could come on and push it, but we have a community and we're going to keep on going. So let's go.
Don't include me on this rant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, so let's stop wasting time. I just want to let you guys know we appreciate you guys being here. Our plan is to recap what we just witnessed between the Celtics and the Warriors, and then we can sprinkle in some Kings and draft too. We'll
Hell yeah.
see where it goes.
Oh yeah, we're talking hoops tonight, but there's a lot to talk about this game, and I'm just so happy we got such a fun game. So happy.
All right, Deuce and Mo coming down. 3, 2, 1. Hit the thumbs up and hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Well, it's been a while since we've been live at like 9 o'clock at night.
I know.
We shifted some things. Why? Because we wanted to be on to react to Game 3 of the NBA Finals. I'm Deuce Mace alongside Morgan Reagan. We got to talk about that game. We'll sprinkle in some NBA draft too. But man, what a fun game between the Celtics and the Warriors, with Boston prevailing 116-100. Morgan Reagan.
Yes.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. We deserve that game.
Yeah?
We deserve to watch good basketball. Not only that, the way that the Celtics outsmarted the Golden State Warriors with so many decisions, so many different plays, out-hustled them. It was just so fun to watch.
It started from the jump. I thought Jaylen Brown came out tonight, and Jaylen Brown is showing why I think he is, in some ways, kind of just an underrated player as a two-way threat. What he can do defensively at times is really special. You saw it tonight late in the game on Steph, on Clay. He had that incredible play where Clay's trying to drive to score, and Jaylen Brown recovers to block the shot. He knocks the ball away from Curry. He's everywhere. But for me, is how he came out aggressive offensively. And like, it's not easy when you got someone like Draymond Green on you. And he took it to Draymond. He had some big shots tonight. But the biggest takeaway is you have your three guys, Smart, Tatum, and Brown. Fantastic. I mean, the stat I saw after the game was pretty remarkable. It's something that you don't see all the time. And that is the first trio to have, 25 and 5 in a finals game?
Yeah.
Since Magic, Kareem, and Michael Cooper did it in 1984. That's some serious production.
I think Lisa Salters, I saw a tweet, something about like she asked Brown about it after the game, and he said something like, I was born in 98.
I think Tatum said that.
Or was it Tatum that said it? Damn it. Okay. Well, whoever it was, I saw half of the tweet and I was like, that's funny. Fantastic stat. And it's not one of those stats where it's like, okay, they're just trying to compare, push and no, fantastic game from that trio tonight in so many different ways. And what's insane, the Celtics, it's not like the Celtics scored 116 points with their three-pointers. They were attacking.
Oh.
They were being aggressive on the offensive end. You had Tatum driving, having the defenses collapse on him just so he could find the open man. It was just fantastic basketball.
Yeah. 52 to 26 points in the paint. rebounding 47-31 for Boston. And then second chance points 22-11 to Boston. They played their asses off. I mean, there's just so many directions to go on this game, and we just watched it, so this is our first reaction. And sometimes it's hard for me to gather all my thoughts immediately following the game. I'm just going to do it right now. Rob Williams.
Oh,
Rob Williams.
Just do it right now. Great.
Rob Williams was my favorite part of this game. I thought going into the series, he's the X factor. If he's able to give them something, it's going to be significant. His impact was felt drastically tonight. It was amazing what he's doing. He's not healthy.
Yeah.
He had knee surgery, and he's playing, and you could see it at times. He's favoring it. He's grabbing his knee. He only played 14 minutes in game 2. Tonight, against the Warriors in a big game at home, he ends up playing 26, gives him 8 points, 10 rebounds. He has 4 blocks, 3 steals, and I don't think the box score gives him justice.
It doesn't, because it doesn't show how many times he sacrificed his body and how much he just went after every single ball, whether it was someone throwing it up like Steph Curry and just blocking the shit out of it, or even if it was, you know, a play that was on the ground and he was diving after it. And I know we'll talk about the Warriors in a second, but I think it was huge when that 7-point possession by the Warriors happened. Al Horford came out, got under Curry, so they called it, you know, and one, and then flagrant. They obviously get the ball back and everything. They put Rob Williams in after this play. And I said, dude, is this going to be a huge swing play of this game? They put Rob Williams, the guy we're talking about right now, and the game was just different when he was in. Sure, there was times where it seemed like he was too far back and dropped coverage, but he knew how to get up. He knew how much time he needed to bounce up, and obviously his wingspan was enough to disrupt some of Curry's shots there.
Yeah, it was something that the Warriors really exploited in game 2 was, all right, we're going to really set a screen right when Curry heads of midcourt, and, you know, Horford's drop. You mentioned the drop coverage or sagging off a little too far, and Curry doesn't need that much space at all to get a shot off. And Horford was starting to get exposed in that situation. That's not like anyone shitting on Horford. Horford's been fantastic for Boston. It's just that's what a lot of the playoffs turns into, is teams hunting for mismatches and seeing things that work. What worked well in game 2 was a lot of that pick and roll. It got Curry going, got him to his spots, and he took advantage of it. Well, Rob Williams was able to play. And you go to Rob Williams, and you're right. He was able to come out, and he was able to contest a little better, and he's able to switch, and they showed a little more when Steph was driving. Williams was fantastic, and I think if the Celtics end up winning a championship, I think one of the things that people will be talking about in Boston a long time is that Rob Williams, who is dealing with that knee thing, was able to not only play but be a factor, and he was a huge factor in this game tonight. And I have so much respect for a guy who is willing to put his body on the line because he wants it,
and not even like shrugging. I think there's one time after he went after an offensive rebound, got it, knee, you know, tweaked a little bit, just bending over, rubbing his knees a little bit. But like, you see this guy and you know he's in some pain right now, and he's just playing through it. It's the finals, do or die, win or go home. And it was fantastic. And him and Al Horford in there together, there was just moments, you know, when Horford even off the dribble threw that alley-oop to Rob Williams, and you're just like, these two together. Al Horford late in the game chucks a quarterback pass down the court to Jason Tatum, running, all the Warriors asleep in that moment. Like, those two bigs add so much more. The offensive boards, they just add so much to this squad and what they can do. And
I know we're going to be bouncing all over the place. The next thing I got to bring up, and we'll get back to the Celtics for a second. I just think Kerr made some mistakes tonight. I think Steve Kerr, you know, a lot of the playoffs is pressing the right buttons, you know. Hey, this is what we're going to exploit with Horford on the floor. Hey, this is the lineup we're going to do. This is the matchup we're going to switch up on. You know, it's about pressing the right buttons and making the right decisions at the right time. I thought taking Curry out, when he took Curry out.
And toward the end of the third, right?
Late third, about 3 minutes to go, to get him his rest, when they had really closed the gap. Curry's cooking. They've got the momentum. I think Kerr could have gotten away with playing Steph another 90 seconds to a minute because you skip the long timeout in between quarters.
And I know that seems so particular. It's not. It's not because I saw in our chat during our watch party, I think Drew Mack said something like the momentum factor is serious in this game. And it was. And if you're the Warriors and you had momentum on your side, and I'm not a huge momentum person per se, but I think when there's a great crowd like there was with tonight's game, like it helps when you get the momentum shift. And the Warriors got that with the 7-point possession and then everything else going on. And then he got taken out. You're right. It was just a little bit too soon right there.
And that wasn't the only one. That was part of a really good third quarter for the Warriors. They end up being down by 4 entering the fourth. They outscored Boston 33-25 in the third. And Klay and Steph in that quarter combined for 25. So then you get to the fourth quarter, and that's, by the way, the Warriors end up only scoring 11 points in the quarter, which is pretty insane.
I was just going to say, Gareth Burke's tweet said a 16-point fourth quarter for the Warriors in game 1 loss and 11-point in this loss.
Yeah.
So.
And the other thing I thought he did is he took Klay out again. And I know Klay had played 32 minutes, a game high, entering the fourth. Klay was starting to get going. And I think those are the things that kill you. The next thing for the Warriors that I think you talk about adjustments, what I've saw tonight, and it's three games, but Rob Williams gave them something tonight, gave them that spark. And this, what the Celtics did on the glass that we talked about, the rebounding advantage, which was insane.
Yeah.
When you have your starting lineup with the Warriors, every guy in the starting lineup had 6 or more rebounds. You had 6 from Tatum, 7 from Smart. You had 9 from Brown. You had 10 from Williams. You had 8 from Horford. Unbelievable gang rebounding, like getting after it. They're long. They're physical. They do all that.
They move.
The Warriors don't have the size. And at times you looked at them and you're like, they don't have the athleticism either.
Yeah.
I think Kerr may have to break the Jonathan Kuminga, like, in case of emergency thing and sprinkle in some minutes.
You be pushing this.
No, I think I'm right on this. I think I'm not asking for Kerr to say, hey, you got to go and he's got to give you 25 minutes. But tonight, he threw Bielitsa in there for 4 minutes. You know, he threw Iguodala back in there for a couple of minutes. It's time to – we've seen flashes from Kuminga that I think you can look at and go, yeah, you can get him in there. He's young. He's athletic. He's going to bring the energy. He brings some fresh legs.
Yeah.
And he may even give you some offensive punch. So that's where I think Kerr's got to really look at going into game 4.
In that final adjustment, I'm not saying that you're wrong because I don't necessarily. I just think, and I kind of explained this to you too before, it's just like easier said than done sometimes when you have your guys with experience. And Nemanja Bjelica showed a little bit of promise in, I forget whatever game it was. And
game 5 against Dallas.
There we go. You know, and so there is your trust. And then with Iguodala, it's like his experience, but you and I have talked about it. He's just like looking more and more broken throughout this postseason. And so it's Kerr maybe needing to trust in his young guy and go in that direction. But at the same time, like, I get it. I get how hard that can be at times. But yeah, game 4, it's all about the adjustments in this entire series. And so what adjustments? It's your turn now, Kerr.
Other stuff that we should talk about. I mean, there was some, the Warriors get down by 18, then they get back in the game. The sequence that you referenced a few minutes ago, that third quarter where Curry hits a 3, fouled by Horford. They go review it and call it a flagrant. Okay, I guess by the rule it must be a flagrant. I thought it's tough. I feel bad for defenders in the league because it's like, okay, you're trying to play defense against Steph Curry. You're a big guy. You got to contest it. I don't think it was Horford had any intent whatsoever, but whatever. They're trying to protect players. It's a flagrant. So he gets 2 shots at 1 for 1, and then they get the ball. So Curry, of course, makes the free throw. There's 4. And then Porter, with like 12 seconds on the shot clock, throws up a terrible looking
shitty looking three.
Contested. It's in. And then all of a sudden, it's a 7-point swing. The Warriors end up on a 9-0 run in less than 90 seconds of the game. And you're like, oh no, how are they going to respond? But to Boston's credit, they responded in a big way. I think one of my favorite things tonight from them, the lineup that they had there out for a stretch where they went with smaller and they had Rob Williams out there with Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. They were so locked in defensively. They guarded their guys. They were tough. Boston looked awesome tonight. Flat out awesome.
Yeah, and but here's the other thing that I was saying to you throughout the game, because I was even like, okay, third quarter, what's going to happen? Well, Boston came out strong, right? And then obviously you see what happens with the Warriors once again. And the Celtics made so many mistakes early on. They caught, like their turnovers were on them. It wasn't all because of the Golden State Warriors defense at times, right? They were just turning it over, being sloppy at times. And in those times, Warriors did a good job capitalizing, scoring in transition, and would come back in, and that the momentum swings would happen. But the Celtics would always respond. And that was a little bit of everyone tonight. And then Marcus Smart, can we spread all the love on him right now?
Sure.
Because he was someone tonight, in my eyes, that made so many brilliant basketball plays tonight. For example, offensively, he had the ball at the top. He knew Curry was running back, and I believe it was going to be Curry's third or fourth foul. It's going to be his fourth foul. And Curry, he feels Curry kind of swipe at the ball like he's trying to just like push it out, and goes up for a shot. It's a foul on Curry. It was just a genius play by Marcus Smart to not only draw that fourth foul for Curry, but also get to the line, which was questionable.
That was part of that wild third quarter, by the way, because you mentioned that 9-11 mark. Curry picks up the fourth foul, and we're like, it should have been a shooting foul. It was. He makes the 3 free throws. Then on the very next play, that's when Marcus Smart knocks the ball off Draymond Green. Turnover, Horford on the pass you were talking about. Just without hesitation, give me the ball, ref. Give me the ball, ref. Amazing pinpoint outlet to a streaking Jaylen Brown for the dunk. And so it went from being a close 72-64 game to back to 13 after that.
But even on that out of bounds play, Marcus Smart was like, throw it into me, because he was going to make that same decision. It was like this entire Celtics squad just plays so smart, so engaged. They just understand the game. And when they play like this and together, it's just incredible to watch.
I mean, I think from a Warriors perspective, the concern I had even after last game was Steph's going to need some help. And he got a little bit of help tonight from Clay, who was finally able to knock down some shots after missing his first couple. But I think as this series going on, they were physical with Steph tonight. He was nothing, even with his off-ball stuff.
Yeah.
It was like he's getting knocked around. They were making sure he did not have freedom to just get wherever he wanted. They were bumping him a lot. And then there's just plays where, like that play late where there's a loose ball. And again, another big sequence in this game where Marcus Smart's diving on the ball, Al Horford, Williams, and then Curry kind of gets rolled up on by Horford, and he just looked banged up. He looked kind of exhausted before that. I just think there's so much on his plate right now that they need so much out of him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he needs so much more help if the Warriors are going to win the series.
And he does, but you also look at that third quarter and the amount of physicality that was added from the Celtics and how they tried slowing him down, but still in that third quarter, like Steph was still finding ways to get open, whether it was, or, make the shot, even if it was contested. And a lot of that had to do with the Celtics just not playing high up enough on that 3-point line. And so then those 7 threes of their 14 threes in that first part of the game were made in that third quarter. So then their adjustment was just incredible to see how they stopped them scoring in the fourth quarter. The in-game adjustments, just incredible by Ime Udoka.
And that's where, I give credit Udoka for putting that lineup out there too, putting Rob Williams out there. But Rob Williams is giving it his all. And that's where you go back to him. If Rob Williams is a factor in this series, I think it's going to be really challenging for the Warriors to win it because of his size. And there's so many times you're like, oh, he's not going to block this one. And it's like, he gets there.
Yes.
He gets there.
It's incredible.
I mean, Rob Williams, might as well be on a peg leg right now, like a pirate out there, and he's still finding a way because he's got like a 30-foot wingspan.
Yes, that's
and
what
he's a freak athlete,
it is.
and he gets there.
And you guys, that's the thing. It's the buy-in. It's the buy-in from this team, understanding like give it your all, and you will, get it back. And even for Jason Tatum, when he was making big shots, when he didn't need to make big shots, he was making big plays.
Oh, his passing. Well, that's
just incredible. I keep using incredible, but it was.
Morgan, we know Jason Tatum's talented offensively. We know he can get buckets. We've seen this from Jason Tatum. Shout out to Sarcasm City TV, who rated us again with 37 people. Welcome on Twitch. You're watching Deuce and Mo talk about what just went down with the NBA Finals. But I've known he could score. It's can he make other guys better? His passing has gone so much better. His decision making has gone so much better. And he had some pinpoint passes in another game where he's got 9 assists. Tatum finishes with 26 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds in the game.
Yeah, just doing a little bit of everything, and that's having it from your guys. So now you see those 3 on that trio have this big game, and then everyone and all the role play, whatever, everyone just played together at such a high level. You look at the Warriors, and I know you saw Clay pick things up, start to hit some shots, score, played better defense tonight as an individual defender. Curry also scoring, but having to fight through a lot. Jalen Rose talked about other guys like Looney and Draymond scoring and having to step up and score.
Such a weird take.
It is, but I think where he's actually trying to say is like getting them those second chance opportunities by fighting for the boards, getting those offensive rebounds or getting the defensive rebounds and passing it out, letting it out quick, making something happen where you can go downhill and get in transition on this Celtics squad. And that's where they could contribute more. And I think someone like Jordan Poole also, again, great free throw shooter. You see him miss a free throw in this game. He just hasn't been playing like himself lately, but I think you have to give credit to the Celtics and what they've been doing defensively on him.
Celtics are just locked in defensively. They looked, you watch them tonight and they look unbeatable, right? Like, I put a poll question on YouTube, by the way, who will win this series, Celtics or Warriors. 79% of the people voted saying the Celtics are going to win this series. After watching this, and you don't want to overreact after one game, but it's also been 3 games. And this series has had so many swings. We just talked about the third quarter and the swings there, and then we get to the fourth tonight, and the Warriors have 11 points.
Yeah.
Like, the swings in this series it's hard to figure out. And then how well the Warriors played last game, being physical, getting them hitting first and staying engaged defensively. And then tonight, Draymond Green was a non-factor. So I'm having a tough time figuring out this series. I think as it goes on, I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment. I just think Boston has more of the weapons that are needed for this long series. And with Rob Williams playing, and then if you get the others giving you, I think Tatum and Brown are pretty locked in. Brown was marvelous tonight. He was might have been the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
I think he was tonight. And that's the first time in the series we could say that, because I think Steph's been so great in the series.
Yeah.
But Jalen made plays on both sides tonight. For me, I just think Boston's got the athleticism, the shot making, and the defense, the switchability. Steph's been great. And guess what? They're up 2-1. Steph's been great, and they're up 2-1.
Absolutely. And that my only thing is kind of that Tom Brady factor for me with Steph Curry. I'll believe it when I see it. When when he alone really can't carry the team or have his magical games, and it's just not enough. And it's really to give credit to the Celtics being that good of an all-around team. And when you look at Curry, it's like he really does need those other guys to step up. Clay, again, used to just be an automatic.
Yep.
And he had a good game. And everyone's wanting these elite Clay games. It's okay that it's not here this year. I think it's something that he can still get back and find. But he's just never going to be that elite defender that he once was. Like, I think he will be better than he is this year. I think he will get back to his quick shooting, quicker footwork. But you have to look at this year for him as really that rehab year, getting back into it after 2 years of not playing.
And the problem tonight, though, is we can talk about, Steph needs more help offensively for sure, but like defensively is where they had major issues tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, look,
rebounding.
We didn't even talk about, well, we don't need to, but GP2, it was like he was, again, a non-factor on both ends of the floor.
And he was awesome. He was one of the most important players in game 2, and he didn't really have it tonight.
Yeah.
He had one look from 3. He
didn't want
open. He didn't want it. Was not a threat at all. But he only played 12 minutes. I'm surprised. Again, I'm not trying to pile on Kerr here because, he's trying to find lineups that work and all that, and he's doing some juggling. And it's this balance of, all right, we need some offense now. Let's put these guys in, or we need some defense.
Yeah.
I think GP2 probably needs to play a little more. Like you're having problems with rebounding and defense in this game. You need to put players in there that can give you some sort of spark. It doesn't mean you need to close the game with those guys that I keep talking about, like Kuminga or GP2, but you should sprinkle them in.
Yeah.
I think if you're the Warrior, if you're a Warriors fan, you're probably wanting to see those guys instead of Bielitsa and Iguodala at this point. I mean, if Boston is so athletic and they're long, then why are you putting a 38-year-old who literally has knee issues right now in Iguodala and Bielitsa, who's not the most nimble, right?
No, he can have his moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about those moments. And again, Deuce, with that take, I'm not as strong about it as you are, but like, I don't think you're wrong. I just like whenever you bring that up, I understand coaches and experienced players and all of those things. I really do. But maybe it'll be different. Maybe it will be the adjustment he makes in game 4 at some point when he wants that spark. Just sprinkle in some of those minutes.
Someone in the chat says, Joe said, Iggy played? No, he did. Played only a couple minutes, but yeah, he was in there. There's a Draymond Green clip that was put out by Dan Le Batard. I'm just curious what he said because he put a crying emoji. So we'll go ahead and play it since we're reacting live. Oh, and
Mark and Horford. I'm not trying to throw it out there. Nah, I mean, you went for it, but hey, appreciate the podcast promo you just gave me.
All right, so someone must ask him about his podcast. There's not a lot of contacts there, so whatever. Hey, I probably shouldn't have played it because I didn't know what it was, and I had it down over here. All good.
Yeah, very interesting choice, but actually, I liked the risk, so thank you.
Can we talk one thing about this Draymond podcast angle for a second?
What?
I don't know why people think it's even a big deal that he does a podcast after or, a game or what.
It's not.
He's talking about a game for maybe 30 minutes and it's over.
People think it's a big deal? Like people are weirded out that he does it?
Why is he worried about podcasts? He should. I mean, again, it's because they're down 2-1 in the finals and, he wasn't great. Like, I don't understand the big deal about it.
You guys, it's not like he's putting in all this extra work.
No.
Like I get it if it was a production, but isn't he just not FaceTiming, but Zoom? Isn't he just on Zoom, like doing his podcast really quick? It's probably a very simple setup, but not only that, if anything, you get to kind of wind down, talk about the game and what you didn't like and did like. And if anything, I would like my players to kind of look at the game.
And he does. And now he just talks about it. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. The bigger problem for the Warriors is he just was not good.
Yeah.
He was not good tonight. I mean, number one, he fouled out. He had 2 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Wasn't a good one from him, and they really needed him tonight. And they didn't. He was physical at times, and so that was still there. Good job getting guys. But I think whether it was the crowd that got to him or something, it's not like he seemed rattled, but he didn't seem as composed with his physicality as even last game. It was like he knew what he could get away with. But this one, he was just like throwing his arms up, doing whatever. And I mean, there was times like he even tonight like grabbed Jason Tatum. They didn't call it, and it was on the baseline. Someone had posted the highlight of it, and he's like grabbing his neck and throwing him behind him, and it's a made free throw.
it's something we talked about after game 2. Like, hey, the Warriors set the tone with their physical play. But and maybe Draymond definitely got away with shit in game 2. I mean,
Right.
tackling and like we saw the clips and we watched it. Yes, of course. The problem is it's not the same officials. You know, you had Scott Foster out there tonight. You know, that's obviously going to be a different element with that crew. And so they didn't get away with the same stuff at all. I mean, Steph got in foul trouble early. Draymond was picking up fouls left and right. And, you know, Draymond, it was just so, yes, you could be physical, but some of the stuff you're not going to get away with.
He was like, yeah, I don't know. It's just your strategy. You've got to change it up a little. And if that's not going to be on your side, play it the right way. He's a good player when he plays the game the right way. And it's much better for the entire team to have him out there, even on the defensive end. He can make smart plays. That's the one I'm talking about. He can make smart plays and he's a leader. So yeah, it sucks that they couldn't have him out there the entire game too. And that he was just a non-factor.
Let's get to some of the comments, including Ray Smooth. What's up, Ray? He says, let's stop trying to paint Draymond as a good defender with his weird antics. His style of play is going to get players injured. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff, and look, Draymond, I still think is a good defender in the league.
Yeah, he's a smart defender at times.
He's also, you know, he's getting older too. I don't think he's got the same. I mean,
he's not relying on that bullshit kind of play, but I think because it worked in game 2, he was like, let me see if I can do it again. And it's like, no, teams adjust to that. Refs see it. You know, everyone adjusts. Like, you can't just pull the same antics.
I just think as good as Draymond is defensively, even Jaylen got him tonight. And I think Jaylen is just, I think as this series goes on, I think Jaylen Brown's confidence is going up because I think what he's realizing is the Warriors don't have anyone who can guard him one-on-one. And they've got guys who can maybe make life challenging, like Brown can, but Draymond can. Wiggins can to a certain extent. And I'm not trying to diminish those guys because I think Wiggins has been pretty good defensively. But Jaylen can get you on that quick first step. He can attack. He's going to go with force. And when he's not settling, when he's attacking and then hitting threes, he's fantastic.
Exactly, because he was also hitting his shots. And I feel like him and Tatum tonight went to the rim. Well, especially Tatum went to the rim, not just looking for the foul first, but he was looking to make the shot first. And I feel like in those last 2 games, he was accepting this physical contact and be like, can I get the foul? And it's like, no, try and just stay square, stay composed, make the shot. And then if they don't get the call, like, good, you got the 2 points on the board. But he did a much better job of that tonight. And then Jaylen Brown's been pretty consistent with that.
NBA Young Cobe says, Draymond is relying on antics on and off the court more than ever, makes him look desperate. I don't know what you mean off the court. Maybe you're just talking about how he's breaking down the game. But yeah, I mean, maybe he is a little bit. Maybe he is. Drew says Draymond definitely looks like the sort of player that grabs back fat. That's what Morgan used to do.
I know he definitely does. He definitely does.
Also, Draymond got bullied by Rob Williams, and then also someone on Twitch says Poole played scared too. You know, I think there are flashes that are in the playoffs where we're like, oh God, I mean, Jordan Poole, he's been awesome. He's been one of their best players. He can get to the rack and try to finish, but it's much more difficult when he's going up against Jaren Jackson, right? Against the Memphis series. Obviously much more challenging when you got the size that the Boston Celtics do. And he's still a young player, and I think he's got tremendous skills. And I think maybe we, and I say we, not necessarily us, but the general basketball community, we're maybe overreacting to Poole as if he has arrived and has made it, when in reality, he is still a young player who's taken serious strides in his game, but he's not a finished product yet. And he's going to have to learn from this experience of him going up against a team that's been together, who's locked in defensively and has size. Like, good luck to him.
Can I just say, though, the amount of consistency that he was playing at such a high level in this postseason, how could you not believe that it was his emergence, this next step? You know, like it was so consistent. And now you're seeing with the brightest of bright lights on right now and all the adjustments that have been made. It's like whether he's not in the rotation as much or whatever it is. Yeah, it shows he's still young. It shows too what a liability he can be on that defensive end at times, right? So
huge liability
You're
there.
seeing these flaws, and I have no doubt in my mind that he can't fix that though. You know, he seems like that type of player that's like, no, I want to be consistent throughout the brightest of bright lights, throughout the season, everything. And I think he can get there.
Okay, here's the clip that I want to play earlier. This is the clip. Draymond got annoyed with a reporter who asked if he was worried the Celtics were listening to his podcast for intel.
It's pretty interesting. Are you conscious at all of what you're saying about the X's and O's, the game plans, the adjustments could be making their way back to Boston staffers and influencing their decision-making at all?
No. I don't say much different on the podcast than I say to you right here. So, nah. What's the X's and O's that I said on the podcast? You all right?
Yeah, actually, the only real thing I noticed that like really stood out, you talked about how to cover White, Smart, and Horford differently between games 1 and 2. That was really the only.
Oh, yeah, that was just contesting shots.
Yeah.
If that's X's and O's, then I don't. You reaching for something. It's all good, though. Keep going. Reaching heavy. The only thing, you find that they are taking X's and O's away from your podcast. Well, the only thing you said is White, Smart, and Horford.
I'm not trying to blow it up.
Nah, I mean, you went for it, but
Yeah.
hey, respect. Appreciate the podcast promo you just gave me, though.
Man.
The Draymond Green show. You next time, just mention it that way.
You got it.
All right, bet.
Monty in the middle here.
Draymond, what most disappointed you about the way you guys played tonight and yourself?
I was soft. That's what was most disappointing to me for us. Monty, how much X's and O's you get from the podcast? Clearly, this guy, hey, I don't know, man. Maybe that's the IQ level over this way. Shit.
Damn.
Respect. You got something else, Monty? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Not just you, but what was disappointing about the?
Okay, so a couple of things here.
He could have left it at what it was, but
He went hard at the guy,
Yeah.
and it really, Draymond.
it's okay. He just lost a freaking finals game. Like, I mean, you know.
But also, like, that's the thing. It's interesting to hear a player talk about a game right after
I love it.
and hear their perspective.
Yeah.
But I listened to one of his podcasts after, I think it was game 1, and there was nothing I learned from it.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, you can't let those guys. You got to contest. It was
He's probably
very
just venting.
It's very surface
Yeah.
level. I mean, I don't think even the producer asked him a question. He's like, I know you can't really unveil like X's and O's and breaking things down because you're right. You don't want to be like, all right, here coming up. Well, here's what we need to do in game 4. I think Kuminga has to play more because he's going to do this. Like, you can't get into stuff like that. Obviously.
No, you're not going to get into what you talk about with the guys, Steve Kerr, the team, when you're watching film. Like, you're just going to talk about, like, again, answering these questions. Yeah, he would probably go on his podcast and be like, I was soft. I
What's
was
that
soft.
mean, though? I don't understand him saying he was soft. And if you do think you were soft, then you could have changed that in the game.
I
Like,
think
what
I think his mentality was soft. And I think whether it was he allowed guys to get in his head, which we've seen before, like he yells and does whatever he needs to do, but I think it changed the way he played the game. And again, that's just
I mean, it could have.
my opinion.
And I think he was trying to get a spark, I guess. I think he was trying to get something going for his squad, trying to be that emotional like leader that, you know, kind of what he did in game 2.
Yeah. Yep.
After the game, Marcus Smart said Jaylen Brown set the tone for the Celtics' increased physicality in game 3. Smart said Boston followed Brown's lead with the way he started the game. Yeah. I mean,
So cool.
that was definitely something you noticed. I also don't know that. I think we're going to start hearing that Draymond Green's podcast is a distraction and blah, blah, blah. He's being asked about it post-game. It's being asked about because a reporter is asking about it. It's not like Draymond's like,
I swear, if
it's
that
not a big deal to me. I think people make far too much of what
Yes.
athletes do on their free time.
Yes.
And if Draymond Green wants to spend 30 minutes of his 24-hour day talking about it, like, good. Like, if he wants to talk about what just happened this game, have fun. I wouldn't want to do that if I were him, but hey.
Go to sleep or be in recovery and be icing. Like, you guys, it's something.
He could still accomplish all of those things.
Reaching.
It is definitely reaching for sure. I want to get more from the chat coming up in just a second, but do want to give a couple of shout outs to our sponsors, including ESAC Fitness. I'll be going back to the gym hopefully soon.
God.
I suffered a lower back strain. Not good. I'm feeling better today, but when I do, I'll be clanging and banging at ESAC Fitness. Probably mix in some yoga there.
You
ESAC
need it.
Fitness. Maybe go to the recovery room, a little cold plunge at ESAC Fitness.
Or maybe even the sauna. You've got it, Deuce. And I have been going back, and it feels so good. So if you're looking for a gym to get healthy again, make sure to check out ESAC Fitness.
Also, shout out to Joey Reagan over at Lion Real Estate. If you're looking for a house in NorCal, hit up Joey. He can help you find your next house. He's actually helped a couple of our podcast listeners find new houses.
And why is that? Because he's all about relationships. Like, literally, if you're going to reach out to Joey, you are going to make a new friend. So make sure to hit up Joey if you're looking to buy or sell your house, or if you know anyone that is doing that as well.
Hit him up, 916-412-4592. That's his cell phone, 916-412-4592. Also visit his website, jreagan.golion.com. That's license number 02128070. Also presented today by our friends over at Seasons Coffee Roasters. If you love coffee like I do, I like local coffee. I know I'm kind of a coffee. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
be
a
honest
snob.
with you guys. I'm kind of a coffee snob. Not that I can tell you the notes, but I can tell you what's good coffee and what's not good coffee.
And this is great coffee.
This is fantastic coffee. And what's cool about Seasons Coffee Roasters, go to their website. You can get beans delivered to your house. They're cold brew. It's amazing. SeasonsCoffeeRoasters.com. Use promo code DeuceBags. That's Deuce Bags, not douche. Deuce Bags at checkout saves you 10% off. That's SeasonsCoffeeRoasters.com.
Oh, man. What a day.
Can we get to more of the chat?
I want to. Let's chat it up with everyone.
Let's see what people are talking about on the chat. Brian says Time Lord is coming to life. Yeah, Rob Williams has been one of the, when he's out there, he's making an impact. And I thought his impact was awesome tonight. Zero doubt about it. Dr. Nesto has a draft question.
What's up?
Are mock drafts essentially agents talking up their players? It's a great question. I think it's...
Depends on who's making the mock draft one.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, some people are really plugged in, right? And some people like Jonathan Gavoni, Jeremy Woo, people who spend literally their lives watching prospects and coming up with this. Part of it is conversations with teams, with scouts, with agents, and it's piecing things together. And I got to be honest, I think some mock drafts, they just look at the other mock drafts and make tweaks.
Yep.
And some of it, it's like, hey, this team kind of needs this. Oh, I think this team, I'm hearing this. And they just kind of piece it together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not an exact science. And I think sometimes we all are guilty of taking so much from mock drafts. Like, this is what it's going to be. And when something surprising happens, you're like, that's what happened. Scotty Barnes is not supposed to go there. I had Suggs going to Toronto. Or like, I can't believe Halliburton went here. It's like, that's... The mock drafts were wrong.
My favorite mock drafts are the ones when they're telling me something new about the guy. And I don't even look at where the mock draft has them drafted. I just try and learn something new about the player that I didn't know from a different mock draft, especially when it's a good writer or someone that really knows the game. So I don't know. That's the way I would see it. But what?
Go ahead.
I was going to say with the Jaden Ivey stuff, some of it really feels like it's been pushed and people have been pushing that narrative, push the agenda. That's what it truly has felt like with him being like, man, is he going to actually be in the top 3? When then you hear some other people that are really locked in. They're like, no, these guys are the top 3 best players in this draft.
Yeah, there's been enough noise about the Ivy stuff that I don't know. Maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows he's going top 3, and that's why that stuff is going out there, getting out there. I don't know. You never know. Sometimes these teams are like, they give promises like, hey, if you're there at this spot, we're taking you.
Yeah, so.
And it's the next week and a half. I mean, we have 15 days until the draft. Stuff's going to change for sure. The more I watch stuff, and we're going to hop on Twitch tomorrow and watch some Keegan Murray, I think, at some point. I am really impressed with Keegan Murray. And there's this real this notion that like he's kind of doesn't have a higher ceiling. And I guess my pushback on that is why? He took a jump last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's got size. He plays defense. He's tough.
And he's smart.
He's high basketball IQ.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we sleep on guys. Like, he's not one of the most athletic. Like, Jaden Ivey, clearly one of the best athletes in the draft. Right? Like, Jaden Ivey is explosive, can get to the rim.
Offensively elite. Yeah.
I mean, I won't even... Elite offensively, I wouldn't say that because I don't think.
But
the
a lot of
shooting-
people would. A lot of people
He's
would.
got the potential to be, and I think that's what people look at Jaden Ivey and go, "Wow, this 6'4", 6'5" guy who's long. He's not where he needs to be defensively and offensively, but he works hard, and if he can get there, he's got tools that you can't teach because you can't teach that speed. You can't teach his body." So if he can do the other things, then it's like, oh, you have an unbelievable player on your hands.
You know how many times I feel like we talk about players, especially that are so athletically gifted, like Jaden Ivey, who then also shows so much promise, like I said, even with not only the way that he can get to the rim because he is so explosive, but like there's seen some potential in that shot. And, you know, just again, him having the athletic ability on the defensive end, but doesn't know how to use it. I think really looking at the player that is the smart player is sometimes just way overlooked. And I'm not saying that Jaden Ivey isn't that smart player, right?
No,
It's
but
just
Keegan Murray he's not this crazy.
high IQ, like that is what he's known for
No,
kind of
yeah,
player.
I was going to say he's just not like some crazy athlete. Like, he's just pretty fundamentally sound. He could score, he could shoot, and you're right, high IQ.
And that high IQ is so overlooked so many times. And it's just like what players say at times when, hey, teams can't see how to measure, you know, the guy that wants to work the hardest or that is the student of the game. And so is that going to be one of those situations?
Because you're always trying to get the star, of course, and you want the star.
Right.
And when you see Jaden Ivey, you could see, like, if you squint your eyes, you can like, oh, I could daydream about this and see a guy who could do all these things. He can't do that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for Sacramento at 4, if you take Jaden Ivey, it's going to be because Monty thinks he's like the best guy available, and let's go. I just don't think Ivey's going to necessarily he's going to have like some major impact year one. It may take him a minute. And you just have to exert some patience with a young player in this game.
And he seems like the type of player that it's going to be situational. He has to be with the right culture, with the right squad that knows how to develop him the right way. Could that be a place like Sacramento with this new coaching staff and, you know, everyone that believes in development with this staff? Like, possibly.
Main support says Deuce has this magical ability to talk himself into any new draft pick every day. Well, main support, I think part of it is I'm watching a lot right now, so it's like top of mind. And I really like Chet. I really like Paulo. I think Keegan, I really like him too. I mean, there's some at the top 5. I like the players there.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I like Dyson Daniels a lot. I just think there's some decent talent in this draft. And I don't know that's going to be like, oh my God, superstar, but I think there's going to be some good players from the ones I've seen. Bobby says Keegan too slow to play the 3, possibly too small to play the 4. I don't think he's too small to play the 4. I think he's got good size. I think in some lineups he'll be a small ball 5.
And again, it goes to this guy that might be slower at times and he could lose his guy, but because he is a smart defender, he knows how to cover the right way or use his wingspan and his length to make sure to reach over and block the ball. Like, there's different things that he makes up with that for, but I still believe too that he could better all that.
Adam says Quinn Snyder would look great in royal purple. Gobert would look even better holding out unrealistic hope. Rudy is a king next year.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know how you're getting that done.
Money wise, are you just saying?
Money. I mean, he makes a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I like Rudy Gobert. I think the other thing, too, is you would definitely need Sabonis to become a really good floor spacer. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to look kind of rough. But, yeah, defensively as a rim protector. Or you just trade up and get Chet. Chet, a guy who, again, I don't know. Maybe you're lucky and he falls to you a 4, but you'd probably have to trade up to get him. It'd be a huge gamble to trade up. It'd be a lot.
It sounds like you have to trade up to get him.
Okay, let's say you have to trade up.
Okay.
But if you believe he can impact your defense, stretch the floor, finish inside, he's good playing off ball as a cutter, then do it.
Again, everyone's like, but the frame. We get it. It's obviously he's very, very thin. But at the same time, every NBA player is switched on to every NBA player in today's game, right? Obviously, you're seeing at this high level in this postseason series with the Warriors and Celtics. They're finding ways to fight through and everything. But throughout the entire league, it's a lot of switching. And so a lot of players, there's a lot of mismatches. But my point with Chet, there's still a lot of special play that he gives. And on top of that, another high IQ player that loves to play the game too.
Competitive.
Yes. What?
Chris says, if Chet's name wasn't Chet, he would be a consensus #1 pick, and I'm fully serious.
Oh, my God.
I don't see. You say that, but then in our Twitch chat, didn't she says, is Chet the 7-foot McLovin really a good defender? People judge him by his name and his looks.
That's so messed up. That's so fucked up. Oh
yeah, and
my
he
God.
is a good defender. I mean, he's not perfect, but I think when he's got to come out and hedge a pick and roll, it's not great, but, it's tough for bigs. He falls down a lot, but I think he's very good at protecting the rim, not only with shot blocker, but staying vertical. Even when an offensive player kind of tries to body him, he does a good job at staying big and using that size to his advantage. Will there be times where he gets bullied on drives? Yes.
And Jay Billis said this on our podcast the other day. He was just talking about how he's like, back in my day, we're old coming out of college, but you're seeing it now. Sometimes we forget how young some of these guys are truly, and that how much room they have to develop, whether it's even their bodies physically or, the way that they look at the game or the way that they play the game. Like, we don't give them that enough because everyone's always looking for that next LeBron and franchise changing player right away.
Avi says, I don't think Keegan Murray moves the needle. The pick, he would be the pick if it were solely drafting for need. Seems like Keegan has the lowest ceiling. I think people are holding a couple things against him. He'll be turning 22 by draft night, which I guess in NBA terms, he's ancient.
Yeah.
I think Tim Duncan was 22 when he was drafted. That's another thing Jay Billis told us. Like, I don't care about that. Okay,
I don't either.
If the guy was a rookie and he was 29 and it was like, well, that's a little weird. He's played college for a long time. Yes. Okay. Sure. I just think he's gotten better. I think he's learning how to use his body. He had a late growth spurt. It's not like he had a whole bunch of D1 offers. Now, the thing that I think you can make a case for is if the mock drafts are accurate and he's more of a guy that's in that 5'6" range, it would make sense for Sacramento if they really loved him and they were like about Ivy to try to trade down.
Sure.
Get an asset and then draft Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
Instead of just taking him at 4. Because I just think there's enough interest in Ivy. The other question I have is Detroit. People say Detroit loves Jaden Ivey. But how much do they love Jaden Ivey? If you love Jaden Ivey, you'd probably be willing to trade up to get him. But are they comfortable with the idea like, hey, if he's there, a 5 will take him. But if not, if Sacramento takes him, I'm cool with that too.
And is it just smoke screens, right? Like, that's the other thing you have to look at this time. Like, is it just teams and people putting that out there, or is it agents putting that out there, putting that narrative out there, trying to get their guy paid?
Yeah, it's funny reading the chat too, just because we're all watching, we're all trying to figure it out. And someone just said that Keegan just seems like a role player at most. I mean,
interesting.
He averaged 24 a game in college, 8 rebounds. He shot it well. He just about 2 blocks a game. Now, does that mean he is going to be the number 1 on a team? No. But, what type of role player could he be? Could he be like a legit number 2 or number 3 in the league? I think it's possible. I mean, it could be. I don't know. But it's weird because I think we hold things against him because it's like, well, he's not the craziest athlete and he as if he can't get any better at the other aspects of his game. It's just weird to me how we evaluate him.
Yeah, I get sometimes when people are saying these things, but then if you then go put it fresh on your mind. And I'm not even saying like go watch highlights, but sure, if you need to go watch highlights, go watch highlights. But otherwise, I would say go watch a game. And that's why we're going to watch a game.
Yeah.
I know you already said that tomorrow on Twitch, a Keegan Murray game. So then we can like look through the whole damn thing. And I don't know. What do you think about Shaedon Sharpe too? Because that was another person that has been mentioned a lot. And just the question mark alone scares the shit out of everyone. And I think that is the fairest thing. But at the same time, that is another name that is just like keeps getting pushed up there.
I think I'm really eager to see where he's falling because right now the narrative on him is switched where he is getting crushed right now because he didn't play last year, right? The combine, he kind of dipped out early. These anonymous scouts are shitting on him like crazy. There's just a lot of anonymous stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, maybe his agent didn't do him any favors, or maybe he left the combine early and was like, I got to promise that I know I'm going here. I don't need to do anymore. I'm going to get drafted by like 6 or 7. I'm good. I'm cool with that. Why do I have to go through all of that? He is a mystery to a certain extent, but these teams have access. Did they see him play last year in a game? No, but all these NBA teams have seen all of his high school stuff, or at least they should if they're doing their job. It's available to them. They have every resource possible to go see it. They could have gone, and a lot of teams did go see him practice at Kentucky. They may have a feel for him. Is it as much information as usual? No, probably not. But I could also make the case during the COVID year, they didn't have as much information about some of these college prospects because the season got short. March Madness, all that stuff went down. You have enough information to make a decision. I personally have not seen enough to know, but he was a highly recruited player for a reason.
Yeah. And again, young, a lot of mystery surrounding him. So, I mean, do your work. Do your homework. If obviously you have the resources, if you're with these teams, so just do it right.
I mean, it's crazy. Like the guy that's rising a lot seemingly is Dyson Daniels, and I like him a lot. I think if Sacramento was able to get him, and maybe to me that's another guy that in all likelihood you'd probably have to trade down for. But 6'8", can handle, can defend multiple positions. Another high IQ guy. Played with the Ignite last year, some real life experience there. I like that. Yeah,
you see how valuable that is to some of the guys that were rookies this last year. Jalen Green, for example, with the Rockets. And being with the Ignite can do that, can mature guys even quicker. And so another young guy, but long, smart. Yeah, I'm curious to see where he goes.
Shout out to Vince who donated $5 super chat. If Donovan Mitchell wants out, if you were the Jazz, would you accept Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, the number 4 pick, and 2 other first-round picks? I don't think they want to move Donovan Mitchell, one. And they have done so much to try to keep him happy. I'd be surprised if he wanted out completely. But maybe he does. But I think if Donovan Mitchell does want out, he's not going to go to the Jazz. Sarah, I want out. And I'm totally cool with going to Sacramento.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, why?
And I know some people are like, well, they could trade him anywhere. In today's league, especially with the stars, they've got some say in where they go. Mm-hmm. They do. And I don't think he'd have any desire
keeping
to go to
good
Sacramento.
Relationships with the agent who obviously has other clients, and if you ever want to pick one of their guys to come to your team, you just want to keep all those relationships good too. But I don't think that would do it.
Steph Curry with a quote that Maureen just pulled up, by the way, I wanted to read.
Yeah, he said, I'll be all right. Got caught underneath Al. Said he's in pain. Same foot sprain that he suffered against Boston earlier this season, but not as bad. Said he doesn't believe he will miss game 4. So.
He better not miss game 4.
Yeah, hell no. You don't have a choice, Curry.
Yeah, that would be nails for them. Get the shovels if he misses any time, for sure.
Damn.
But yeah, Donovan Mitchell, I just don't see that would be beyond shocking if Sacramento could even put a package together and he'd be into it.
No,
I just
no,
don't see it.
that's not real. Like, come on, it's not realistic.
Tyler says, I'm all for player empowerment, but you're not going to say you're out on the team and then tell me where I'm trading you. You can F all the way off if I'm the GM. And yeah, maybe Danny Ainge is like that too, because Danny Ainge is running the show. I just think I don't know. I'm not to the point where I think Donovan is ready to say he wants out anyway. I just also have a hard time thinking that Sacramento would be a desired destination for him.
This could be his way too, when he came out with that quote the other day that he was blown away or blindsided by Quinn Snyder stepping down. It could be his way of trying to scare the organization a little bit and light a little fire under their tush, being like, make these effing changes because now we're going to have a new coach. It's going to be a new thing going on here. Maybe the change he wants is to push Gobert out, and I think there's ways to do that with other teams.
Also, Donovan Mitchell is a young player in the prime of his career with a relatively new contract. Like, look around the league, especially with someone of his stature. He's a pretty talented player, all-star level player, right? Like, really, really good player. He's flawed, but he's a really good player. Look around. Like, you could say that, hey, I would not want, if he can't tell me where to trade him, they tell you where to trade him, right? Pretty much. James Harden, Anthony Davis. Name me an athlete who doesn't have say in where he goes nowadays. That's what happens.
And a lot of it, like we already said, because it's politics, it's behind the scenes shit with agents. Like, there's a lot more to it. It's not just like they're trying to make a player happy, but there are some GMs that are like, F that guy. I don't care about his agent. I don't care about this. I don't care. But then sometimes you're not playing the game the right way either, right? Because then your reputation and shit gets remembered, and then other agents don't want their guy to go with you. They don't want to have to deal with you, So there's a business behind the scenes.
And on your crazy trade that would never happen, I just think it's a lot of picks to give up to. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Way a lot. We're going to be back live on Twitch tomorrow.
Yeah.
Watching some Keegan Murray, so make sure to check us out there. We appreciate everyone hanging out tonight. Of course, we're going to be back on playback for game number 4 of the NBA Finals on Friday. We love you guys so much, but we gots to go.
Hey, you all have a wonderful rest of your night. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell